Hey everybody, welcome to Hey We're Talking. It's just me and Bob today. Derek's not doing anything special. He just had to work a lot, so he couldn't be on the show this week. But we'll miss him. We miss you, Derek.
We do miss you, Derek. And Derek works a lot, man. He's got a demanding job.
Just this week.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when he's there, it's demanding, but most of the time when he's not there, it's not demanding.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
When he's at his job, it's very demanding. Well, I mean, it depends. It depends how many people get sick or feel awful.
However many people blow off their fingers with fireworks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Luckily, my wife being a nurse, she didn't have to deal with that. She didn't have anybody that blew off digits.
I wonder what the actual percentage of people that blow a digit off every 4th of July.
It's funny. My uncle was telling me about a story over 4th of July. We went to my uncle's house on July 3rd just to see some fireworks within his neighborhood and the area. And he actually said he knows a family to where they have like 5 kids, and every kid is missing a digit.
What?
So like every kid is blowing off their finger with a M80 or dynamite or something.
Oh my gosh.
And you would think that these kids would learn, as they went along over the years that, don't mess with fireworks. You'll blow off a digit, but
the gene pool is a problem, apparently.
I don't think it was a very bright family. Let's just say.
Well, they did get lit up, though. Huh? Okay, so, this is Hey We're Talking, by the way. I don't know if I said that. I think I said welcome to Hey We're Talking. I'm Scotty D. That's Bob Peel. And Derek Tant is not with us, as we mentioned. We can be found on many different places, but you can go to heywe'retalking.com. That'll take you to a pseudo website that takes you to Podbean, where you can listen to our podcast. You can also check us out at Hey We're Talking on Twitter, which we don't do very often. You can check us out at Instagram, Hey We're Talking, which we don't do very often either. And you can send us an email at heywe'retalking@gmail.com.
Did you mention Facebook? We're pretty active on Facebook.
It seems like we're getting a lot more people watching the show on Facebook. So I put it up on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can check us out at Hey We're Talking on YouTube, and then on Facebook, just type in Hey We're Talking and you'll get to it. So those are the videos that you would see on YouTube. And speaking of video, I'm just going to tell everybody right up front, because this happens, it seems like, every time that we have any kind of technical glitch, which is okay. I'm glad people say something about it, because, you never know. But Bob's voice is just a little behind what he's saying. His mouth keeps talking after he's done. So if you see that on YouTube, it's okay. We know it's happening. It's either a Skype issue, or we both have like super fast download and upload speeds. So it can't be that.
It's funny because now looking at you on this camera, your voice is delayed as well. So I don't know what it is, which is funny because you're right. We do both have very good upload speeds. It's got to be something with Skype that we just haven't figured out yet. So
my upload was like stinking 600 and something Mbps, which is outlandishly fast. So there's no way it was that. And my download speeds were like 800. So
what? How do you get that kind of speed?
AT&T gigabit.
Well, see, I had AT&T here, and the max they would do is like 14 upload speed, and then my download speed was, my download speed was like 14, and then my upload speed was
that's DSL.
1.2. Well, that's all they offer here for AT&T is DSL.
They used to only do DSL here, but then they got gigabit internet, and it's fantastic. So even over Wi-Fi, all over the house. And, our house kind of sprawls out. It's not a gigundous house, but it's
kind of a mini mansion.
It's not a mini mansion.
I've been in that room that you're in. Kind of a mini mansion compared to my house.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, but we get like 350 Mbps over Wi-Fi all over the house.
Here's what's crazy, and a lot of people don't know this, but the United States has some of the slowest internet in all of the world.
Isn't that stupid?
That's just crazy because you've got other countries that have faster internet than we do, and we're supposed to be that, that powerful technological, powerhouse. But unfortunately, when it comes to internet, we don't have that.
We need to make internet great again. Come on, Trump.
No, let's not, Scott. Don't do that,
dude.
Let's not get on that.
Speaking of internet, listen, I gotta talk about this
briefly.
Just briefly, but this meme thing with CNN is fantastic. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
Where Donald Trump was fighting the CNN meme on W.
Yeah, somebody made it. Somebody made it, and then it went crazy. And then CNN tracked the guy down. I don't know if everybody knows this, but they tracked the guy down. They had their investigative team found the guy on Reddit, and they basically threatened him. They told him, well, here's the way they say it. On the news, they're like, hey, we talked to him, and he apologized. And we told him that we wouldn't reveal who he is as long as it never happened again. And so...
Who is CNN to do that?
Right. So the people on Reddit went absolutely crazy, and they made some of the best memes ever. You can't miss them. They're so great. The Sparta one, that's a good one, from 300. They have Donald. You've seen 300. Don't lie.
I've seen the movie 300, and I probably saw the meme of 300 like during the election, but I haven't seen it recently.
No. So you know where Gerard Butler kicks the guy into the pit?
Yes.
In 300. So somebody put CNN over the face of the guy who's about to get kicked into the pit, and then they made Trump the guy kicking him into the pit. It was pretty hilarious. Anyway, there's a bunch of them.
Stupid political garbage.
It's hilarious. No. It's hilarious.
Stupid. It's immaturity.
No. It's freaking hilarious.
Scott, as you guys know, Scott is a political junkie.
I don't think I'm a junkie.
You are. That's what he does outside of this show. He loves politics. If you follow him on Facebook at scottyd.net or whatever the hell his book is.
On my Facebook, it's horrible. Yes. Nobody likes me on Facebook. Everybody hates me on Facebook. I know that.
Maybe it's not just Facebook.
On Twitter, I don't do that. I don't put stuff up on Twitter. I just use Twitter for sports and stuff like that. I try to keep Twitter clean, which is stupid. I should keep Facebook clean, but I try. Every once in a while, I go through this thing where I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to put up any kind of political stuff on Facebook, and then I see something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody needs to know this.
I've tried to do Twitter, and I have it, and I have an account and all that stuff, but I just don't find myself that exciting that I have to post on Twitter. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't post too much on Twitter either, but a lot of the stuff that I look at is I follow a lot of the sports writers, which here's the problem again. So you say I'm a political junkie, but what happens is even the sports people say stuff. These sports journalists get on there and they're like, what a stupid president. And I go, so I'll say back to them, hey, I follow you to learn about the Detroit Lions, or I'll say I follow you to listen to the Red Wings. Could you go ahead and shut up? Because I don't care what your political opinions are. In fact, your political opinions make me not want to listen to you.
Well, I've done that for a long time, especially when it comes to musicians. I love music. That's a big part of my life. I mean, that's a huge part of everything I do in my life. Not only do I play drums, but my son plays guitar and ukulele. And I mean, music has always been a huge influential thing in my life. So when I hear musicians start doing the politic thing, it's like, please don't ruin it for me. I get that you maybe have a different opinion than I do, or maybe the same opinion, but regardless, I don't want to hear your political stuff. Just give me the music, man.
You know, I am so used to musicians and movie stars and TV people having different views than me that it doesn't faze me that much. But the sports, here's the thing. Sports to me is that place to kind of get away from everything. Like you don't have, when you're watching, it's like, for instance, this Colin Kaepernick thing. ESPN and Fox Sports put up a story about the fact that Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job almost daily. almost daily.
I see that.
And I say, okay, listen, we get it. You think Colin Kaepernick should have a job in the NFL, but 32 teams in the NFL disagree with you. So go ahead and shut up. Nobody cares anymore.
And it all depends on, you can look at it a couple different ways. Colin Kaepernick's ability over the last couple seasons has not been very good. I mean, he's not been a very good quarterback. He had a few good years with the 49ers, and then since then it's been blah. And then if you start bringing in his political agenda that comes with him, it's baggage. He doesn't want, a lot of teams don't want that stuff, So I look and see that you're wearing a Carolina Panthers shirt, and it's really what we wanted to talk about today was salary caps throughout sports.
I don't know too much about salary caps, but I will tell you this. I think that I want to finish up the Kaepernick thing. I know you're trying to get away from it, but I'm going to finish.
Of course I am.
So here's the deal with Kaepernick. I think he's a talented kid. I can call him a kid because he's still way younger than me.
You're like 74, I think. No,
yeah.
3, I think you turned.
Yeah. So I look pretty good for 73. So anyway, Kaepernick is a talented kid. He did really well under Jim Harbaugh. Yep. He went to the Super Bowl. I mean, he's had a really good career at some points. And I'm, here's the thing. I'm fine with him having an opinion that's different than mine too. It's not that I want to silence Colin Kaepernick, but he did he made a conscious decision to do something that he knew would cause some controversy and get people talking. And I understand that. And I'm fine with him having the right to do those things. But just like you said, there are 32 owners who think that, number one, maybe he's not talented enough to be their backup QB because he's not getting a starting job.
No.
And number two, they don't want the baggage that comes with it. I mean, he went to Seattle and they talked to him, and that would have been a perfect destination for him because of, the politics of Seattle and things like that. He would have fit in perfectly well there. But apparently it wasn't good enough. So at this point, now he's in Uganda, finding himself. So it doesn't even seem like he really wants to be in the NFL that bad, because if he did, he'd probably be over here working out and trying to get better. I'm kind of amazed that people are still every day pushing this thing to get Kaepernick back into the league. Oh man, you're so bored you yawned.
No, well, I just had to take a deep breath before this next thing, I guess.
Okay, go ahead.
So, obviously, I said baggage with Colin Kaepernick, and the thing is, it really what it comes down to is with a lot of these coaches and owners and GMs and all this stuff, they have a hard enough time managing a team of all these guys and many personalities and all that stuff, and then to add somebody in to their team that's going to be really just kind of a showpiece for the media makes it really tough. And how do you manage that? You really can't. And if you know anything about like NFL coaches, they like to micromanage every piece of their team to get their team where they want to be. And at this point, Colin Kaepernick is unmanageable when it comes to his personal agenda. I mean, maybe he's good enough to be on a team. I don't think he's good enough to be a starter at this point, and he could prove us wrong for sure. But does a head coach or a GM want to deal with the drama surrounding someone's personal agenda? No, they don't want to, and that's what makes it very tough within the NFL, and that's why he doesn't have a job. And going to your point, Scott, yeah, he doesn't seem like he really cares to have a role in the NFL at this point. Financially, he doesn't need to. He's got plenty of money, and we'll see where he decides to take it. He may wind up. He may have no choice but to continue with his personal agenda because he won't have a job, or he'll silence his own agenda and think about the team aspect.
Yeah, I think I just look at a team like the Patriots and Bill Belichick, and I say, if there's anybody who might think about taking on a guy with that talent, Bill Belichick would be that kind of guy. But obviously, his team, one of the reasons that his teams are so great is nobody talks about stuff like this. Nobody opens their mouths. Nobody, I mean, even Tom Brady was somewhat connected to Donald Trump, like they knew each other and all that kind of stuff. And he never came out and said anything. I mean, and he's a superstar. So of all the people in the world, a superstar could get away with that a little bit. It depends on what they said. But anyway, so that's enough about Kaepernick. I'm sorry. I just wanted to finish it up because I felt like it's a decent topic to kind of talk about. And again, it goes back to this idea that it seems like the media, the sports media, sometimes can't get out of the way of politics. And I know that a lot of people will say, well, politics are a part of sports, but honestly, when I'm watching sports, that's like my getaway. It's a place where I don't have to think about the stuff that's going on. Sometimes they interact, but to have it happening on a regular basis is not fun for me anyway.
No, and I agree with that. I mean, it goes with sports figures, which is my getaway, and music, which is my getaway. I don't want to hear people's agendas. Just give me your music, show off your talents on the field. That's it. That's the things I care about. That's why I step away from my normal life and kind of get into sports and get into music because it's my getaway from everything else.
Yeah, and I think I'm totally fine with people having an opinion. I guess the basic thing that I think we struggle with in our country right now is if someone has a different opinion than you, the go-to thing is to be angry with them or hate them or think they're stupid or call them morons and all that kind of stuff. So that's the hard thing. We've got so much division. So sports is one of those things, especially depending on the city that you're in and things like that. When a team, I mean, when the Cubs won the World Series, I'm sure that brought tons of people together. Not you didn't like it, but yeah. When the Cubs won the World Series, it brought people together that it crossed lines of politics. People were just happy that their team won.
Yep.
And I think that that's the beauty of sports. It can bring people together that might not usually get along. So there you go. I don't think we need to talk about the salary cap. Do you know anything about the salary cap?
Well, I mean, as far as talking about salary cap, you know, we know our major sports have it. NFL has a salary cap. The NBA has a salary cap. NHL has a salary cap. The only major sport that does not is the MLB.
Yeah. Yeah, but even like the NBA, I don't know enough about it, but I know they can it's like they can have like a luxury tax or something like that. So like if you want to sign LeBron for $200 million a year, you can do that, but you got to pay like some kind of fine or something.
Yeah, so they've got their salary cap, which is X amount of dollars. Let's for argument's sake or whatever, let's just say it's $100 million.
Yeah, sure.
So if you go over that $100 million in a year, the luxury tax, then you become part of that bracket of luxury tax. So if your payroll is $117 million, then you have to pay a percentage of tax based upon that $17 million that's over, you know, the $100 million. And the only major sport that does not have a salary cap is baseball.
Yeah, and the thing that's crazy is in baseball, it's changed a lot. It used to be that the Yankees would just spend more than everybody else and they would win. But now that doesn't seem to matter. It doesn't seem to affect as much. I mean, it still does. There are teams but in baseball, it seems like because of the way people are running franchises and stuff now, you don't always have to have the highest payroll to win. Although I think the Cubs had a huge payroll last year.
Yeah, the Cubs had a pretty big, I think it was the third biggest payroll in MLB. But you look at a lot of other teams, you know, I'm just going to go to the White Sox because I know this off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. In 2005, when they won, they had a $75 million payroll, which was very, very low on the list.
Yeah,
so
that's super low.
Yeah, I mean, $75 million is nothing. I'm actually looking up right now the MLB payroll per team.
Who are the top 5?
Right now, we've got the Los Angeles Dodgers at $113 million.
Mm-hmm.
The Boston Red Sox at $106. So this obviously is not in order. Let me sort this.
Oh my gosh! Way to go, MLB.
Ouch! You're gonna hate this.
Tigers had a big one.
Yeah. So number 1 is actually the Tigers, $173 million payroll. Boston Red Sox with $167 million payroll. San Francisco Giants with $149 million. Toronto Blue Jays with $143 million.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Chicago Cubs at number 5 with $138 million.
Oh my gosh, dude, that is insanity. Yeah, the Tigers suck too. They're horrible this year. They're actually talking about at the trade deadline trading Justin Verlander, which is insanity.
Yeah,
I never thought that would happen. I mean, he's got his woman's from Michigan. It's going to be interesting.
Verlander is a very good pitcher and has been for many, many years, but eventually people outprice themselves. And unfortunately, that's a situation with Verlander is his price is way too high.
He makes, I think, look it up, but I think he makes like $25 million a year. Isn't that insanity? That is insanity.
I'm gonna open a new tab because I have some of the largest MLB contracts on a list too. So
okay, and I know Miguel Cabrera has a very large salary as well. I think there's probably a bunch of people. I don't know how this works in Major League Baseball, but I think there's some dead money in there. Does that make sense? So like people who are not even with the team anymore.
Oh yeah. Well, to be fair, they do that in a lot of sports. They do that a lot in hockey as well.
But it counts against the cap.
It does count against the cap, but there are some people that could be getting paid and not on that team for the next 2 years.
I know. That's what they're going to have to do with Hossa. I mean, it won't count against the cap, though, because he may be on injured reserve. It depends. They're looking into that.
Yeah, he's got a medical issue that does not allow him to play.
It's a bizarre medical issue.
Yeah, so Marian Hossa from the Chicago Blackhawks. Marian Hossa, whether you're a Blackhawks fan or not, has been in the league for many, many years.
You guys have a girl on your team named Marian?
No.
I'm just kidding. Marian Hossa used to be on the Red Wings. Go ahead.
Kind of rude, actually.
It was rude.
He has a problem right now where his gear for hockey irritates his skin. So he's got some kind of allergic reaction. He's been dealing. I know it's crazy. He's been dealing with it for years, but now it's to the point where the medication he's been taking to deal with it, he's built up an immunity, and he can no longer take it, and it's not working anymore. So he actually has to take off the 2017-18 season to try to recover from this. But I mean, he's I think 38 or 39 years old. So this may actually force him into retirement.
Even if he retires, though, because the way that this is the thing about the NHL, they structured his contract in such a way. What they did back in the day is they would sign these people to like 8 to 10 year contracts for a huge amount of money, and they would front load the contracts, and then it would get smaller as time went by. Well, now if the player plays longer than 35 years old, so at 35, that contract, you must keep it on the books even if they retire. So if Hossa were to retire, the Blackhawks would still have to pay, I think he makes $7 something a year. They would still have to pay that for the remainder of his contract, and he has like three or 4 years left on his contract.
Yeah, but I think a medical issue might change that a little bit.
No.
Oh, we'll have to see. But anyways, going back to Justin Verlander, he's making $28 million this year.
Oh my gosh, that is insane.
To play baseball. So that's a thing we kind of talked about is, should there be a salary cap in baseball? A lot of people say, well, just the money goes back to the owners and this and this and that. But the reality is, wouldn't it balance out these teams a little bit more financially? And and allow the talent to be distributed over more teams instead of the top 5?
Personally, I wish no sports had salary caps, to be honest with you. I liked it better when there wasn't.
Why?
Because the teams I like have really super rich owners, and they'd get to buy really good teams. The Red Wings back in the day, when they won two cups three before the salary cap kicked in. They would spend so much. I mean, the 2002 Stanley Cup team was filled with literally Hall of Famers. A bunch of guys just came from other teams and signed with Detroit just for the opportunity to win a cup. So you had Dominik Hasek, Brett Hull, Luc Robitaille, Chris Chelios. All these guys came and played for the Red Wings in order to win a Stanley Cup. So I liked it when there was no salary cap.
Well, I look at it like this. A team like the San Diego Padres.
They probably have the smallest. It's probably hilarious.
It is. So their budget for their roster is $23 million.
Get the heck out of here. Are you serious?
Then you've got a team like the Detroit Tigers, who's number 1. Their 25-man roster is $173 million.
That's insane.
I mean, the reality is, how are the Padres ever going to compete without being able to financially,
They shouldn't even be able to have a team in San Diego if that's the truth. Because here's the thing. In the NHL, there's a salary floor also. Do they not have a floor? See, since they don't have a salary cap, there's no floor in the MLB. They shouldn't even have a team. That's ridiculous because in the NHL, so let's pretend the NHL salary cap is $75 million. I know it's like close to 70 right now, but let's pretend it's $75 million. Teams have to spend up to, I believe, 45 to 50 million. So you can't be like a total bottom dweller. That's stupid. That is insane.
Phillies, which are team 29, theirs is $49 million.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's almost double what the Padres have, but, I mean, still, how are you going to get a team to compete when their salary is so low?
We're going to have to talk about this again because we could talk forever about the NFL because they don't even have in the NFL. Here's the thing that I hate about the NFL salary cap. They don't even have guaranteed contracts, man. And it's the most violent sport that there is. And they don't even have guaranteed contracts.
And see, that's where I differ. I think the guaranteed contracts are garbage. Like the MLB guaranteed contracts are garbage.
But dude, you're especially in football. These guys are killing each other. And you don't want them to be able to have money if they like get injured. I mean, you can cut a guy for being injured.
True.
That's messed up.
Well,
That'd be like if my dad worked at Ford Motor Company which he did, and a car fell on his leg and made it so he couldn't walk anymore. He lost his job.
Your dad can't walk?
No, he can. He walks really well.
Oh.
But then Ford was like, "So, see you later. Sorry about that." And fired him.
Maybe the NFL's got it right or wrong, or maybe MLB has it right or wrong, and that's something we'll continue talking about on Wednesday.
That's a great way to sum it up. That's a great way to sum it up, Bob. Maybe they have it right or wrong. I like the way you're thinking there. All right, we've talked so long already. We're going to have to wrap this one up. But we will, here's what's going to happen. On Wednesday, we are going to talk a little bit about sports in the summer. And that's all I'm going to say. Sports in the summer.
I think we're going to tap into a little bit of this salary cap stuff still, but we'll see.
We might. We'll see. I'm kind of bored with it almost by now, and I'm sure everybody else is too. I'm just kidding. All right. Well, we will see you guys on Wednesday. And again, thanks for listening to the show. We appreciate you. We're glad that you are a part of what we're doing. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them on Facebook and YouTube. And also, if you want to, go ahead and send us an email at heywe'retalking@gmail.com. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.